Hello, welcome to another episode of Forgotten Cemeteries, the Pacific Northwest. A lot of cows around here. Today we're at Harrington Pioneer Cemetery, located in Florence, Oregon, and our first Lane County visit, so yay. Alternative names, just one, North Fork. So let's go meet some of the local residents and hear their story. Alright, a little bit of history about this cemetery. It's a small one. Odd stuff in this one too, mainly relating to near deaths in the area and Florence in general. Hope you like the view of the big cows over there. This one was established in 1883. Find a Grave is showing about 37 memorials listed so far. Even though it's established in 1883, Find a Grave also shows a woman named Dutch Joe, unique name, dying in 1864 in Florence, and allegedly she's buried here. Her name is very briefly mentioned in an 1864 newspaper. And I think like the last person is buried in 1980, but that's Find a Grave. They usually don't get updated on these out-of-the-way cemeteries, so it takes a while. As far as the town of Florence, you think it had some connection to Italy? Nope. Two theories on where it's got its name. One claims it was named after A.B. Florence, a member of the state senate who represented Lane County 1858 through 1860. The next is a bit of a neat legend, but the validity has been questioned. Apparently there was a French vessel named the Florence that wrecked around 1873 per one of my guides. However, the real year is 1875 apparently. The description in the book of the wreck is that the ship was a floating coffin when discovered. I guess everybody was dead on board. There's also a Haring Creek near here named after Amos Haring, who we'll meet today. His family was the first to settle on the North Fork, showing a claim in 1880. This cemetery just has a lot of ugly young deaths for some reason. Never seen so much heartache in this one. One infant grave in particular has a brutal story. Reading the article tells a story of an infant catching on fire the day after Christmas from the stove. Other children's deaths include drowning and falling from trees. Other than that, not too much today, just a quiet one out in the middle of nowhere. I just thought I'd make a little stop at this tiny cemetery located off the beaten path since just enjoying a visit to the coast. However, we'll make two quick headstone stops and then hear how Florence became famous for blowing up a whale with dynamite. Had to find something fun for you guys while I'm out here. And our first stop would be of Alexander Dick, Scottish born in 1833. Sadly, never knew his father Robert Dick, as he was captain of a vessel. He would drown 3 months before Alexander was born though, so sadly he never got to meet his dad. Though Alexander here would come to America in 1849, first landing in New Orleans and then to Illinois. Couldn't find him on my pioneer list, but it looks like he came to California in 1852, but had an Indian run-in, so apparently he didn't last long in that state. And our second stop is of Amos Haring, and we talked about him and his family in the intro a little bit, but they were first settlers on the North Fork area. Growing up, I read his family pretty much spent a great deal of time living at sea when it comes to Amos's childhood. Amos was only 9 when working on his uncle's ship too, and Amos' father spent the rest of his life caring for the famous Bargonaut Lighthouse, I think I'm saying that right, located in New Jersey. I'm unsure when he exactly came to Oregon or why, but there was a note that a ship he was on wrecked on the Oregon coast when he was 19. Guess he decided to stay in the area. Sad on his family as well. Apparently he had a 1-year-old daughter that fell into the river and drowned at one point. Also had a 7-year-old son fall from a tree, hit his head. But I guess the kid didn't display anything too alarming wrong that day, but the next day his head hurt. I guess he just died. And then in 1915, Amos's wife almost drowned in a river. So rough family history there. Alright, on to the exploding whale story. Probably what Florence is most well known, apparently. And most Oregonians know this story, and maybe you do. But in 1970, a giant sperm whale washed up on a beach near Florence. And not just any whale. Apparently it was 8 tons and 45 feet long. Story goes that the county hadn't seen one wash up on shore for so long that they really didn't know how to approach the situation. They're like, how the hell are we going to get rid of this thing? So did they bury it? Nope. Can we cut it up? No, because apparently nobody wanted to take on that job. We can burn it, right? No. It was finally decided they were just going to blow it up. So a half a ton of dynamite was ordered up, and here we go. I guess the overall theory from the engineers was the whale would disintegrate, and any remaining parts would be eaten up by the seagulls. There was also the idea that the chunks would be blown to sea, and people were showing up for this event. There was lawn chairs, everyone was all hyped to see a free whale explosion show, so it's got to work out, right? And I guess they had the people standing away a good quarter of a mile, and that was considered the safe zone. We'll hear about why that wasn't the safe zone at all in a second here. So a countdown began, and then boom. There's a video below if you want to see the whole thing. I'll link it. Didn't exactly serve as the safe zone. Whale blubber goes flying everywhere. People are taking shelter. They're like diving behind trees and stuff, I guess. I guess chunks of dead whale flew over people's heads. Parked cars got crushed. People got coated with specks of dead whale. I guess it was like really disgusting. And those seagulls that they were depending on, they were so terrified from the blast that they left the whole area for a while. In addition, the chunks apparently were so large, no animal showed interest overall. So yeah, overall they ended up burying the huge chunks of whale in the end. So it didn't really work out, but a funny little story I thought I'd share with you guys. All right, time for the tour. There's like a little mini parking spot, and again, one of those places, be careful because there's a bend right there, and a beautiful countryside out here. Gates unlocked, free to visit. You hear the cows the whole time mooing. I wish I could find more stories for you guys here, but it comes to these out of the way ones. Not a whole lot of documentation. Talked about Alexander there. I've seen that type before. A very tiny cemetery. And we talked about Amos. Family was like one of the first settlers here. And there is a Spanish-American War veteran here. Company M, Washington. Who's also a Haring. Other than that, not a whole lot. Just a little small one. That one has a little angel on it. That's cool. But I hope you guys enjoyed the visit. It was a small one, but a pretty one. If you're on the way to Florence, I highly recommend this one. If you have any other recommendations for cemeteries to visit in Oregon or even southern Washington, I'm laughing about those cows, feel free to speak up below. Hope you guys are doing well and enjoying the spring weather coming our way. Have a good one. Thanks. Bye.